Can I ask you to stop thinking about your salary account as a bank account for the next few minutes? Instead, think of your salary account as a machine model sitting on your desk with pipes, valves, gears, and pressure gauges installed on it. Because once we start to see money as a machine, we will stop making emotional decisions about it. The idea is to make engineering-like decisions about money, not emotional decisions. And what will be the benefit of it? Engineers don't panic. They can diagnose a problem and find a solution out of it. So let's try to build this money machine in this video. Every machine has friction, and so does our money. Any engineer will tell you the first enemy of a machine is friction. Two gears rubbing together without lubrication don't just wear down, they generate heat. And that heat just escapes the system without generating any useful output. It just escapes as a waste. In a machine, a friction is any contact that converts motion into heat. It does not produce any useful output. In case of money, friction is any transaction where the rupee changes hands without producing any useful output for you. A few such examples can be a few subscription services that feels like extra but you forgot to cancel that subscription. Another example can be a needless splurge of money on junk foods every weekend. You know that it is a bad expense but still you do it. Another example can be those long drives that you do on weekends, and these expenses are losses and they happen without you actually noticing it, and that is why they are so dangerous. These frictional losses are mostly never loud enough that you will notice it. They just convert your useful resource into a waste. How to fix it? You cannot fix the frictional losses unless you locate where that wear is happening. In terms of money management, our task will be to find out those 3 or 4 expense heads which is working like a hidden friction for you. Creating a list of those expenses and removing it from our expense budget will be the engineering-like step in this case. The next question for you is your money flowing smoothly or there is turbulence? In fluid mechanics, there are 2 ways a fluid can flow through a pipe. Laminar flow means the liquid moves smoothly. All layers travel in the same direction, none of them crossing each other. Turbulent flow means liquid is moving in a chaotic manner. This way, a lot of energy is wasted just to make the liquid flow forward. Energy is getting consumed just to fight the internal chaos. Here, all the energy is not getting used to make the fluid flow forward. It gets wasted to push the chaos forward. Hence, a pipe carrying turbulent flow needs more energy to move the same amount of liquid as compared to the pipe which has a laminar flow. Let's use this analogy to explain money. Here, your monthly salary is the liquid and your bank account is the pipe in which that liquid flows. When your salary enters your account and you do not have an expense budget, this money will start to flow turbulently. But if a person who has a savings, expenses and investment heads fixed, the person will exactly know where his money is going to flow. This setup creates a laminar flow for your money. But in turbulent flow, people don't remember where their money went. Maybe they will remember a few important big expenses like house rent, loan EMIs, utility bills, etc. But most of the time, at the end of the month, these people often overspend their money. So why I say that is causing a turbulence? This turbulence needs to be managed. You have to take frequent decisions. You must show a lot of willpower to manage this situation. A lot of attention is also required to handle this every day. So you can see how it is creating turbulence for you, and this turbulence is happening every day, month after month, and this is what wears you down. You will feel frustrated that your money matters are not properly managed, and this is why we must work to build a laminar cash flow for ourselves. And how to do it? Create an expense budget and start recording all your expenses. The idea is to make sure that all expenses are within our allocated budget, and this is what is going to create a laminar flow of your money. The next step for us will be to start pressure testing of our pipes. In engineering, before a pipeline is actually allowed to carry fluid under pressure in an industrial site, it goes through a rigorous pressure testing regime. Engineers seal both ends of the pipe and increase the pressure inside the pipe. If there are defects anywhere in the pipeline, it will leak or burst. The point of doing this test is to find the defects under a controlled condition. In money management, we must consider all our expense head as a potential leaking point. But the thing is, all these leak points do not leak at the same pressure. If suppose your salary is rupees 100 and your loan EMI is rupees 65, what do you think? If your salary falls by 20%, would you still be able to pay that EMI? A similar example, but from a different angle. Suppose your salary is rupees 100 per month and your multiple OTT subscriptions are costing you rupees 2 per month. If now your salary falls by 20%, would you still keep all those subscriptions active? So are you understanding the point? This way you are actually pressure testing your monetary system to find out which expense head is most critical or which are unnecessary. Those monthly expenses on which you can default if your salary falls must be noted. Even those expenses which look unnecessary must also be earmarked separately. For example, if you are paying rent or loan EMIs and if your income falls, there is a potential default risk. Highlight this kind of expense. Similarly, those expense heads, if your income falls and your mind is ready to cut those expenses, you can mark those expenses as well. Why it is necessary to mark this expense? Because those you can categorize as unnecessary expenses. You can spend on them, but when you have surplus income. Otherwise, you cannot. This is the method to pressure test all your expense heads. In your mind, just imagine that your salary has fallen by 20, 25, 30%. And then you test all these expense heads in your head. This is the way to find out your leakage points. And you are finding out when there is actually no real pressure to cut those costs. This type of pressure test will help you differentiate between necessary expenses and unnecessary expenses. You will also become aware of those expenses over which you have no control. If you default, there will be serious repercussions for it. Now in this next step, we will install check valve in our money machine. A check valve is a small piece of hardware. It is a simple mechanical part that allows flow only in one direction. Liquid can flow forward through it without resistance, but it cannot flow backward. We can install such a check valve in our money system. This check valve model will help you control your impulsive spendings. Suppose you have decided to keep your savings in a fixed deposit for the purpose of down payment for your first home. But soon one day, your family decided that let's go for a vacation. What do you think? Who will fund that vacation? In most cases, you will break that FD that you have earmarked as the down payment for your first home. So this is where we need a check valve. How to do it? Do not keep your savings in a savings account or in a bank fixed deposit. Instead, invest that money, preferably in equity. Investment makes the backward flow very hard. Yes, it is not impossible, but I can tell you with my experience that the invested money is psychologically 10x harder to liquidate than the money parked in a savings account or in a fixed deposit. Now in this step, let's integrate a flywheel into our money machine. Most people treat their income as a light switch. This light is always on when the income is flowing and this light is off when there is no income. But it need not be like this for everyone. This is a very fragile arrangement, right? But when engineers design a machine, they do not design a machine so fragile. So what they do? They will inbuilt a flywheel type mechanism in their machine. A flywheel is a heavy rotating mass that stores kinetic energy. That stored energy in the form of a momentum is what carries the system through the gaps. So in our money management machine, our investment acts like a flywheel. Every rupee that we put into an asset that compounds over time is like adding a mass and speed to our flywheel. In good years, when we are earning well, we keep adding mass and momentum to our flywheel. Every pay hike, every bonus, every extra income, portion of all of this goes into our investment. The instinct should be to keep feeding our flywheel in our good days. And once we have fed our flywheel, only then we will feed our lifestyle. Why our lifestyle should be the second priority? Because we have already realized that all lifestyle related expenses are like a friction to the machine. They just consume our money and get lost. Most of the time, those expenses even do not create nice memories. But feeding our flywheel, our investment portfolio, will help us move forward even during tough times in our life. Now the final step is the maintenance step. In any engineering system, maintenance is unavoidable. Similarly, in money management, maintenance step is also there. Every machine, no matter how well it has been engineered, it will degrade if it is not maintained properly. This is exactly what will happen to our finances if we will leave it untouched and unmaintained. Reviewing our savings, tuning our income, reviewing reviewing our expense budget, and rebalancing our investment portfolio are maintenance linked activities. This is the way to review the health of our investment portfolio, and it must be done at least once in a year. So you can see how we can use the basic laws of physics to manage our money. This way, we can self-engineer a sustainable and reliable investment portfolio.